do you see them making a trade for a player to put them over the top? And can you name us a player that you would like to see them bring in that could move the Pistons over the top? And I'll start with you, King.
I think right now the goal is for play in, just or get to try to get to the playoffs, crack the playoffs. I don't think we're at that point yet where we go and get a guy that push us over the top and have us competing. I don't think we're there yet.
Yeah.
We're right there, but we're not there yet. So I think we're still a year away from that.
I agree with you on that too.
Yeah, that's just where I am.
I don't know if you guys got to watch the Pistons Pulse interview with Arn Tellem. It was like a little 12-minute interview. He hinted, now he didn't say this year, but he said, we're keeping our cap flexibility open. And when it's time to go after that big name, we'll go after it. And he kind of hinted that it may be next season. Yeah. There may be a guy that we're looking for. And we still have an open roster spot, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
They haven't filled it. Now, I think if they keep the pace that they're on, let's say they just shatter expectations, hypothetically, before people roast me in the chat, let's say they already have their 35 wins and maybe they're like a 7 seed or something like that. And there's a player like a disgruntled star or, maybe an above average role player to kind of get them over the top. Yeah, I could see it, but I think a lot of things have to go right. They have to stay healthy. Like there's so many things that have to go right for them to do that. But I kind of found it interesting that Arn Tellem kind of like teased that we got our core in place. We think they're special, but we want to see what they do this year. But eventually we're going to go big game hunting for a big name free agent to, bring a star in and, try to, push back into the playoffs and start winning some playoff series again.
Yeah, we talked about that on this podcast. We want to see what this team is like if Cade shows that he can be I think we said a top 25 player. Like if you start to see him develop into that type of guy, then next season is when you go out and you get a Pascal Siakam, or I think some people were saying a Karl Anthony Towns, or some type of player like that where they might need a change of scenery. They're a little bit older, but they can still contribute and help push you over the top. I mean, man, I could dude, I mean, I think we were talking about him last week. I really wouldn't mind the Pistons going after like a Karl Anthony Towns. I've changed my tune on it. I know the contract is massive, and that's the only part that sucks about it. But I know he's not playing super well right now. I think he's only averaging like 15 a game. And I mean, I think he was coming off an injury too last year. He only played 29 games. But that's a guy in that type of talent where you could see that guy meshing well with a Cade Cunningham and like a Jalen Duren. That would be a pretty nasty team if you could bring in someone like that. But that's one name I'll throw out there for the Pistons to go after that could push them over the top.
Do you remember the player that Corey and I were talking about last week?
It's on the tip of my tongue, but I do not remember who you guys were talking about.
Brandon Ingram.
Yeah, that's right. Brandon Ingram. Now I remember. Yup.
Yeah, there's a couple teams where I'm looking at Phoenix because I know it's going to just end disastrously. Like, I don't see them, like, even though, like, offensively, like, that team should win a title. Something in my gut tells me it's not going to work out. Maybe Book wants to come home. I don't know. Maybe that's an option, something you got to monitor. And I've always been a real big fan of Brandon Ingram ever since the Lakers drafted him. I'm sure it would probably cost a whole lot from the Pelicans. I know some people are finally on the bandwagon with me. I've been saying Lauri Markkanen for a damn year. I think Lauri Markkanen at the 4 would be amazing. I really don't know what Danny Ainge would want. I think the only white guy we have is Bojan. I don't know if he'd want him back, but, that was a little inside joke from last week. But I don't know. I'm just spitballing some guys. I probably wouldn't want Karl Anthony Towns Lance just from the standpoint of I look at his contract and it's gross.
That's the down part.
He doesn't feel like Karl Anthony Towns. He's talented, but he doesn't feel like a Troy guy.
Yeah, I could agree with that too.
Like he's talented, but like, could he buy in to play defense? Like that's my thing.
He's averaging 2 blocks right now. It's only been 2 games, but he's only had 1 year where he didn't average a block, and that was last year. But he's always been a decent. He can at least block a shot. We'll just say that. Were you about to say something, King?
No, I just lit up when he said Booker.
Yeah.
I know a lot of fans, man. Booker and Kevin Durant's gonna hitch his wagon to him and come to. They seen him with the Detroit hats on and everything else, man. So it's a conspiracy theory crowd out there that I know would love that, man. So, but Book definitely is somebody I would love to see come here.
Dude, I know I said Karl Anthony Towns, but Brandon Ingram, I love him, and Devin Booker, that would be amazing. It's so crazy to me that he's still only like 26. I think he's only 26 years. Yeah, he's only 26 years old, and he seems like he's been playing in the NBA forever. And his contract, I mean, dude, I think it ends. Does it end after this year, or did he sign a new extension?
Devin Booker, yeah, it ends, but he's eligible for like a $200 million contract. Like I said, I would keep if I'm a Piston fan, tune in the Phoenix games and see if they just implode. Like if I'm a Piston fan, I'm hoping that like they don't make the playoffs. It's like a first round exit, like because there's no way financially they can keep all of those players together because they'll go over their second apron, and Matt Ishbia will probably have to take out a loan to afford all those guys because like you got KD, Beal, Booker, like that's going to be expensive to keep.
Okay, but then who are we giving up? Like, we already know my thoughts on this. We could go with that. Then we have another guest. King, who would you give up for Devin Booker from this team? I've said I'd be willing to trade Jaden Ivey and some pieces for Devin Booker.
Oh, boy.
You guys brought him up.
That's a tough one, man. I think if you make a move of that caliber, you have to give up someone of Ivey's caliber in order to make that happen. So, yeah, I kind of agree with you on that situation. It probably ends up being a guy like Ivey. You're not moving Grant, you're not moving Cade, obviously. So, I'm on the same page with you.
Okay. Yeah, because I think Cade and now Duren, those two are untouchable for the Pistons. Those two for sure. And I think Asar Thompson is as close to being untouchable on the Pistons, even it's only been 3 games, but I think he's as close to untouchable as he possibly can be.
See, Lance, this is what I'm talking about, man. Every week, like, shout out to Mega Hustle. He's on every podcast. Lance is always trying to trade Ivy, like, every week, bro. Like King last year, because I kind of made a joke with Lance. Like, he has, like, a bullseye board in his room, and he had Sadiq Bey on it last year, and he threw it. And every week, we got to get rid of Sadiq Bey. Sadiq Bey's I don't like Sadiq Bey. This year, it's Ivy. Like, he's got the bullseye and Jaden Ivey.
My when I talked about Sadiq Bey, it was fair though. I was not out of pocket with what I said. People can whatever, anybody can feel the way they want to feel, but I felt like I was being honest and true, and I was being very fair to Sadiq Bey, and he was traded, dude. He was traded. It happened. Again, I'm not advocating for Jaden Ivey to be traded. I'm just saying if a guy like Devin Booker became available and they were like, yeah, give us Jaden Ivey, give us so-and-so, 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 you make that trade. You make that trade.
Okay, so my guy Tristan, who is from Phoenix, and he lives in Phoenix right now, and he said this, and this has me really excited. I'm in Phoenix and I follow the team. You're not too far off with that point you just made about Booker possibly coming to Detroit.
We can't do this to ourselves every week, though. We can't.
Hey, man, I'm a sicko. You know that. Yeah. I will talk. You know what? I'm going to do a Photoshop Devin Booker tonight in a Pistons jersey just for the hell of it.
What jersey do you want to see Booker in the most? Teal, the red alternates, or just the classic blues?
I'll do chrome for you, buddy.
Hey, last night there was a kid in a chrome jersey. I think it was a chrome Iverson jersey, and they showed him, and I was like, yes, that is my new favorite band. Yeah, I know. Everybody has chrome jerseys.
Yeah, for me, it was the City Edition jerseys from last season. I'm not a fan. Look like Vernors bottles running up and down the court.
Dude, it's like Vernors and Blue Lives Matter out there with the red, black. Like, it looked like a Coke or Pepsi Zero and Vernors last year. Like, I just was not a fan of the jerseys.
They should get like a Fago themed jersey sometime. Why not? You know.